Winning Time, season 2, episode 2 is here. The magic is back. Glad to be here again to talk about it all. We're here with a reaction every week as the show goes on. Excited to get into and talk about it all. And first things first, I noticed this episode was short, wasn't it? 45 minutes. I was like, what are we doing out here?
Yeah.
I felt like Ice Cube on 22 Jump Street. We rationing around here? Come on now, give me a whole plate. 45 minutes. What are we doing? Why is this episode so short? Go ahead and give us the whole thing.
You were on your Paul Pierce in your living room.
No. See, I knew you were gonna go there. Not Paul Pierce. Ice Cube. Ice Cube. No. I want a full plate. Not what Paul Pierce was asking for. But yeah, that was the first big notice. This episode was a lot shorter than the last one. The last episode was, I believe, just over an hour. This one was about 45 minutes, 50 minutes, somewhere around there.
Like
a little bit shorter, but they got a lot of good stuff in there. Definitely enjoy it all. As the episode is entitled, Magic returns to the court. We got into his knee injury and things in the last episode and all of that and what he's been going through with that. Now he's back in the lineup and trying to get adjusted to the new system that Paul Westhead, literally called the system that Paul Westhead has implemented, and the teams are running well with it. We talked about it last episode how these guys fit into. It was a little glimpse into the modern day where guys kind of find their spots and on the court and all of that. And Magic comes in, he's very free flowing and fast breaks and all of that. It didn't quite mesh with all that was going on here. So created some clashes with him and Norm Nixon, who you see pictured there. It created clashes between Pat Riley and Paul Westhead a little bit, and a lot of fun dynamics to go on there. Plenty more to get into as well. I won't jump too far too quick. Just a first thought as we get into our reactions here, Alec. What do you think about the episode in whole?
Yeah. Like, as you said, I was a little shocked when I saw 45 minutes. I was like, oh man, like this is one of the shows I love. So as much of it as we can get, I'll take it. But
what we doing? Not over that. Go ahead.
They still pack some good stuff into that episode for sure. And just with you touching on the Norm Nixon and Magic relationship, I just wanted to do like a little bit of digging myself, just as far as we talked about last episode, how they do take liberties with the story as well.
Correct.
And so I just wanted to look at some of the like fact versus fiction of what went on between that, because I wasn't sure like if they have a good relationship now, like present day and all that kind of thing. But it was saying like based off of like Magic's memoir, like his book that he wrote too, like Norm Nixon had taken him under his wing early on, and they worked well like in the offense together, like as the starting guards. But it was tough for Norm once like Magic came back, because it was Norm's show once again when Magic was hurt, and then readjusting back into the fold when Magic kind of has the limelight and the star power after the finals win in the previous year. That was realistic to kind of what went down between them. So yeah, go for it.
To that point real quick, I guess it kind of confused me because yes, he was out of the lineup for a while and they implemented the new system and all of that and we're flowing a bit. But it was like at the same time, did y'all forget what all just went down in for us last season or the last episode and all that? Like, we saw how this team worked through their chemistry issues, everybody found their spots, and they were able to go and make a courageous run. Yes, Kareem was out in that instance, but now, even though Kareem is back, like we see there's a formula that works with everybody on the court operating in their own spaces. So for Magic to be out for a little while and they all just kind of turn their back on Magic, like, okay, he's out, so we're going to do our thing. It just felt confusing based on what we had just saw them do in the last season, how they became champions. So, yeah, I was a little confused by that, but interesting and surprised me that it was accurate, that they actually did kind of have a rift there. I understand that Norm was a guy that wanted to be a face of the team and wanted to lead the way in that regard. But yeah, also we see that Magic was there and had his presence for a reason. He's a one of one type. So yeah, that was a fun thing to watch there, and I liked how that battle went on through the whole episode. I guess as we go along with that, to the point about their battle, a big part of it became, okay, as we implement Magic, is his knee going to be good enough to play? And with that being the case, can we actually move on from Norm and let Magic take full reins and find someone else that could better implement into this lineup? And to me, it felt a little bit like how almost kind of in a slight way like today. It's not a perfect comparison, but just in something that we've seen recently, like we almost traded for Kyrie recently, and we almost traded D'Angelo and maybe even Reeves, or I forgot what the trade package would have been to get Kyrie last year. There was all the talk, and there were certain fans that were saying, let's for sure do this. Kyrie, we see with Kyrie and LeBron could be Kyrie AD, a big three, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It seemed like something that could work. But the team was like, they didn't do that. Let the team stay as it was. And though we didn't get a championship, of course, we did make a good run, and we saw those pieces all play their parts in great ways for the most part, at least. So, yeah, it felt like a little bit of that. Also, as I continue to joke about, after Paul Westhead's whole team over big stars, right. I see why he was so adamant about keeping Norm in the lineup there. What do you think about the discussions they had about that trade and how Paul and Pat Riley were split on that decision?
Yeah, I think it's a good comparison you make with the current Lakers and the push for wanting to trade for Kyrie. We don't know how much they were truly doing that, like in behind the scenes in the front office, sure. But definitely like as far as the noise online and what fans were wanting, they wanted the third star, like the David Thompson that Jerry West was pushing for. So that was interesting, like to see kind of like the clashing of perspectives there, as you mentioned, as far as Westhead being more of the team continuity, like his hesitance to see another star, another ego, being willing to sacrifice that for the greater good of the team. Mm-hmm. And Pat Riley, I guess, kind of being in the middle, because like he was kind of with Jerry West as well, but to like still trying to be an assistant and not like stir up any controversy. So yeah, go for it.
He kind of understood at the same time. It was like, bro, let's ball. Like, what are we doing? He's like, right. Give me all the stars. Let's rack this up. Let's get this ball rolling. Like, I hear what you're saying about wanting to have a team and Norm, yes, to play the backup point or alongside. He's like, no, let's get the high flyers in the building. Like, what are we doing? Right. David Thompson appeared to be a great talent that would fit great alongside Magic. But Paul Westhead decided to keep Norm Nixon at that time. And yeah, it was just again, to his point about team over stars, that was his logic. And he heavily stood on them not breaking up, not adding more ego, as you pointed out, to that locker room potentially. Though they hadn't fully even talking to David to even see that would have been a thing. It was just something that, knowing what type of player that he was, didn't necessarily even fit the system that Paul had implemented and all of that, that it wouldn't have been a good idea as much as it would have appeased Pat and Jerry West there. So yeah, definitely fun things with that. As a result of it, trade details started leaking out, and we got the funny moment, a couple good, not even funny, I say just good moments where you had Norm Nixon in the locker room talking to the reporter, like, oh, if we're gonna make it a thing, this is on the record, right? He's like, it's on the record. Let's go ahead and say it. And he was like, right. Yeah, Magic ain't all that, and he won't be here. Won't be a name 15 years from now, and that great quote. What do you think about Norm and how he handled the trade rumors and going against Magic there?
Yeah, I thought it was funny when you saw like the reporter lurking in the hallway like Batman. Mm-hmm. I was like, I was like,
I got him.
Some shenanigans are about to ensue. Like, he's gonna rope him into saying something he shouldn't. Mm-hmm. That's gonna be publicized. It's kind of a dirty game as you see it there, because like he's trying to get a quote out of him for sure. Yeah.
Real quick, speaking of dirty, that stance is I'm about to tell us something. I'm about to give you a quote right now. Don't you worry.
It's funny because at first that stance, I agree, that stance is that, but at first he wasn't really on that type of time. He was kind of just giving like the normal like good PR statement.
But he was not like, really. He lightly did. He was like, yeah, no,
Yeah, like he wasn't really trying to say too much. And then as soon as he was like, "You heard about that David Thompson trade, though?" And then his whole tune change is like, "Hold up, let me let the clip fly a little bit." Right. But yeah, I think that was a cool scene for sure, because I mean, I think that same stuff goes on to this day. Maybe it's not that like I was gonna say like in your face. In your face is not the term I'm thinking of, but maybe it's not that blatant. Like maybe it's more so in press conferences, them trying to get guys to get a quote or whatever, that kind of thing. Maybe it's not walking up to him outside the locker room to get that kind of information, but maybe some of it is.
Not exactly the same, but we just saw it last night. James Harden had his quote last night where he was going at Morey. So there are moments where guys step out, and James Harden was like, "I repeat, like I am not playing for Morey again." Same type of energy. So it definitely does happen today. And it was great to see how Norm played that in that moment there. Not exactly the best handling of it, but as a fan from afar looking back to the past, I'm cool with it right now. So
and the same
fun stuff.
The fact check that I was looking at too, like apparently he did have comments in the press that did ruffle the feathers of Magic, just about them reintegrating Magic and that kind of thing. So that was like accurate, that there was some stuff said in the press that stirred up dissension between the two, that we saw kind of bubbling over.
It carried out in public too. We saw moments of both of them, both on the court going at each other because the chemistry was lost as they were working their way together. And then we also saw that Magic at a point gave a quote back, and that may have been dramatized, but even Magic came back like, if that's what Norm wants, let's give him the ball, let him lead the way. And I forgot exactly how it went. My apologies, but he had a sarcastic answer in response about Norm wanting to be the lead guy there still. So yeah, that was interesting. But they ended up working it out. We saw in the playoffs, that was a 1985 playoffs, I believe that was. First round.
81.
Sorry, I'm fast forwarding because the first clip was a fast forward. 1981 playoffs there. First round versus the Rockets, it was. How they lost that series because they couldn't quite get on the same page there. And I'll fast forward to more reasons why. But the part was definitely that dynamic between the two of them and all of that. So, a lot of good stuff we'll dive more into. Yeah, what were your thoughts just on how that continued to play out this episode?
Yeah, that dynamic between Magic and Nixon kind of bubbled over in that first round series against the Rockets, and I thought that scene was great when Michael Cooper and Cap kind of step in and shut that down.
Like that.
We haven't really gotten like a whole lot of Michael Cooper throughout the series so far. Like he's been there, he's had his moments, but haven't had a whole lot. And he's kind of like made fun of as like kind of like the hokey guy, like the kind of positivity guy or whatever. Maybe he's a little corny.
Come on, guys, come on.
Yeah, exactly. But they needed some of that at that moment because clearly the chemistry was off. So it was cool to see him step in, throw the camera guys out, the media guys out, and have their kind of heart-to-heart moment, making them hug at the end, you know, adding some of the corniness and that kind of thing. But Cap stepping in as well. But that was a cool moment, just to see that locker room beef, I guess, broken down.
I guess part of that, and apologies for getting things out of order, but part of that that resurfaced because there was a moment because they had to fix things for a moment. Things were good even after rumors that came out. They patched it up for a moment and things were good, which led them into the playoffs. They're on the plane, and Paul found out that Pat was working with Magic behind the scenes, that his knee was not quite as good as Pat had first led him to believe, which is why he was pushed so hard to keep Norm because he had wanted to keep that security blanket. And as Paul pulled Pat to the side in the plane, that curtain wasn't thick, and Paul was going in on Pat, telling him how he felt like he went behind his back and lied to him and all of this because of how he handled that. And the whole team heard it, and Norm heard about how Magic missed something about the trade and was okay with it and all of that, and it sent them back down to a star, which led to the moment where they had to get in the locker room and possibly hug it out. So, apologies for the slight switch up there, but I liked how they showed all the angles of it and how it all tied together in the end. And there was a Magic and Norm fighting each other. You got Pat and Paul trying to figure out the dynamics in that, and then it came to this ultimate eruption, I guess, on the plane that sent them back into the moment where they were in that game 2 and blew, and game 3, excuse me, and blew that game. So definitely some fun things there. What other dynamics in the show did you want to get to?
Yeah, I'll say I want to go backwards from that a little bit.
Please.
Pat Riley working with Magic. First, him noticing clearly that as a former player himself, he could see that Magic was trying to play through the injury when he wasn't fully right yet, and kind of helped him get out of his head. like I said, like he was a former player. Like he's like, you remember I had the jersey on as well too. Like I've been in your shoes. I wasn't the star that you were, but I understand what it's like coming back from injury and the expectations and all of that. So helping him getting out of his head, working with them one-on-one. And that's where the quote came from in my headline there. Everyone's a hero in their driveway, because he gave them another one of those little speeches that stood out to me. Those Riley specials where he's kind of talking to Magic about how when the chips are down, certain guys want the ball and certain guys are going to run from it. And he sees Magic as one of those guys when the lights are brightest, that he's going to step up and be the guy. And that led to what you're talking about in the end, where Magic, he's given 1, 2, 3 options for the final play in game 3 to seal the deal. And Pat Riley kind of gives him the nudge, like, hey, like you're the guy. You're the guy. And Magic goes for the shot and it ends up airballing it, and they lose that series. It's a tough look. It was a playoff type look. To finish off that series, but
that is true. I'm sorry for mixing up, because that was a key part to it. But I was cracking up how that played, because as you said, Paul was trying to really keep this team together in unison. They had great options there. There was a quick moment when the play first unfolded where it seemed like
guys
may have had to be Magic take over. But guys opened up. First option opened up, it was there. Second option opened up, it was there. Third option, Kareem down low. It was everything that was there that they needed to be there. And Magic, it kind of blacked out almost. It was where the Drake, it was all a blur for a second for him. And he decided to go for it, go and nigga his own shot, and had his little Carlton moment and try to get the game winner. And
it wasn't quite that bad, but yeah.
He did airball too, though.
He did.
Just about the same.
Yeah.
And blew that last shot, which ended up losing in the series. So excited to see how that plays out. There'll be some things that's gonna,
I'll say too, that was accurate. Like I looked at that series, like all the box score, like those scores were accurate and everything, and that was accurate that he airballed. But Magic said, like in his book, that basically like those options were there, but the guys were covered. Like, so he did. That's what Magic said. I didn't, of course, like I haven't watched the game, I haven't watched the tape, so we're kind of going off the show here. But Magic's perspective was that the guys were covered, so he kind of took it upon himself to take away.
If I'm Magic and it's my book, I'm saying the same thing. Every guy was triple covered. I couldn't get the ball anybody else. I had to shoot the ball.
Another point aside from that too was that while the Rockets were underdogs in that series, they did have Moses Malone, who was like a 28-15 guy. Like he was like at the height of his powers in that series, and apparently he was kind of dominating Kareem in the boards in that series.
They didn't highlight that at all. They slid past that.
Exactly. So like they were like a formidable opponent while they were the underdogs to the Lakers, who were second in the West.
Correct.
But yeah, there was the issues of the team chemistry playing a part in their struggles as well. So elements of truth, some things were omitted, but there was a lot of truth as well too in that episode.
They didn't put that black screen in the beginning. I know that. I didn't see
that
at the
end. They had it at the end.
Oh, at the end? Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. I was gonna say. So yeah, they'll sneak that in, I guess, throughout times, depending on how much of a stretch if each episode is going to be. I guess because this one was a little bit more accurate to at least some of the things that you pointed out with scores and all of that. They saved that for the end. But a lot of good things going on in this episode. Though it was a short one, they got straight to it and gave us another quality episode. And I'm looking forward to what's next. Most of it, because of how short it was directed towards the trade that almost went down, and Magic and Norm's dynamic there. They did get a little bit more into Jerry or Jim. Yeah, excuse me. Jerry. I can't remember the name. Jerry and Jeanie and what's going on there. Jeanie definitely is her father's child. Like she's following his footsteps, and they had a moment where she was sitting down. I forgot with who she was talking to, a friend, I believe it may have been, or whoever, and just talking about like, yes, this is what your father's setting up for you, and he's giving you guys these things, but what do you want? And she's like, want? I'm like, what? This is it. Like, what are we talking about? And it just showed her commitment to what this is and how this is her dream in a way. And I really enjoyed that dynamic. What do you think about Jerry and Jeanie and how all that played out.
Yeah, I thought more of the focus of the episode for Jerry was on first a little bit of his mother's passing and dealing with that grief from a year since then, and then
forever struggling with that.
And then along with that, he's having like he had the dreams, the fantasies of Honey, like who he was with in the past, but he has like a real desire to kind of rekindle things, and we see him go seek her out and seek to rekindle things.
Can't always circle the block, man. Gotta leave some things alone.
Yeah. But yeah, so like it seemed like Jerry Buss's focus this episode was much more on that and like his personal life as opposed to the business. We saw him towards the end, of course, upset about them losing in the first round. And I think they mentioned while Chick Hearn was on the call that it was like the first time in, I forget if it was like 3 decades or something, that like a team that like won the finals hadn't made it like past the first round in the next year. So it was a huge disappointment, and we know some things are going to change for the Lakers, coaching wise and roster wise as well too. After that, but yeah, I felt like this episode more so was him focused on like things in his personal life, and as well as Jeanie too. Focus on like her ambitions versus like her brothers maybe not having that same level of ambition as well too. So yeah,
still having their own personal lives. I think it was Jim that had the girl that was on the team that he was dating with, and Jeannie's like, you messing up the team, like you get this girl pregnant or whatever, like it's gonna mess up what we doing. He's like, I'm focused on just being with my family right now and all of that. So it shows the different views of things, and definitely appreciate those glimpses into their lives beyond the court there. So yeah, a lot of good stuff there. Something to your point that you just brought up, just about how things will progress. We do know the future, but if I was watching this live, like it was actually happening, like I'd be like, okay, this is a humbling moment for them. This would be a moment where they may even hit the reset on a few things, get some things in order. This is again a humbling moment for Magic, and he may dial back on all the media things and all the other stuff that may be going on. But I think, as we kind of know, because we can look back in reality and see what goes down. Instead, I think they kind of double down. So it seems like, because we know Pat's going to end up the lead. We know Magic is going to continue to be Magic for a little while longer, at least. So it seems like they're going to end up doubling down a little bit on what was going on there, and Pat's going to keep putting that battery, and Magic's back, and looking forward to see how that plays out. So a lot of good stuff in this episode that I really enjoyed. Excited to see where episode 3 takes us. We'll be back to talk about that, of course. And yeah, just a lot of fun things to stay tuned to. Any final thoughts on the episode you want to get to?
Yeah, I had a question for you, just kind of along the same lines of what you just stated, as far as like we kind of know what happens, so that changes your perspective of things. But do you feel bad at all, like for Paul Westhead? I guess because like for me, like I was feeling like, damn, like they're kind of like undercutting him a little bit. Some of it is his own like ego and wanting to be the guy that kind of leads them to the promised land as well too, as far as the decisions on whether or not to trade for the 3rd star and that kind of thing. But they had a thing that was working really well. Like he had a phenomenal record as the head coach of the Lakers. And so like things were working well. Like Magic just got hurt. If Magic was healthy, they might not have lost in the first round. Like they might have just went on to win that title too. And then like Riley kind of not being completely forthright with him about Magic and like helping him on the side and not really giving him that information like as the head coach. Like I kind of felt like a little bit bad for him, knowing that like he's the guy that gets pushed out, and then Riley is the one that takes over, and they fully realize that dynasty. But at the same time, I was like, Riley being a different personality, being more of an alpha personality who's like kind of designed for that, and we know him now as the Godfather and a guy that has put together championship teams for more than one team. Maybe it was just kind of a personality thing where Riley truly was the guy to do that. But a part of me was like, damn, like I kind of feel bad for Westhead a little bit. I don't know how you feel.
This might not make sense, but it feels like right formula, wrong situation. Like yes, Paul Westhead wants to do the right thing for the most part. He had the system in place that got guys all the touching in the right way and all of that. But it lost what Jerry Buss was trying to make. It lost the flash, the flair a little bit of what the entertainment that Jerry was trying
the
to build
Showtime
up.
element. Yeah.
So it took away from that a little bit. So because of that, while I do feel sorry for him because I see him want to do the technically right thing, you also have to know where you're at and what the goals of this team are. And as much as the goal is to sell for this team, it's also as much as the goal is to win for this team, the goal is also to sell. And the way he was doing wasn't quite selling. If you start bringing in, you have Magic. Now you have bigger names. You have David Thompson. You have next to Kareem, James Worthy, or Michael Cooper. All these guys. Keep bragging all these stars and give the Showtime that Jerry Buss and all these other guys clearly want. You five just continue to adjust to what the goal is of the higher ups there. So there is a portion that does feel sorry for him, but I don't think he also fully realized where he was at times, and he tried to do things that wasn't quite in line with what the actual goal was for the Showtime Lakers that this team was clearly trying to be built up at. So partially.
Yeah. I mean, that's similar to where I landed on it. It was like maybe he wasn't necessarily the right guy. Like they had the system in place that was working, but Riley kind of helped take it to another level too. So
he was a great coach, but not the right coach, if that makes sense. Like,
exactly.
He had all the good stuff, but it was just the wrong situation for him, sadly. So it is what it is. But again, as I joked about, I'm very excited to see how Pat Riley gets to it. It may be a little while longer. Paul's still there for the moment. They may get to it. This may be a transition episode where they start bringing in Pat as the lead, but excited to see how that plays out and where y'all goes from there for sure. So
I was gonna say
stuff on the way.
Westhead was like the Mark Jackson and Riley's Steve Kerr.
A little bit. So fun things there. We'll wrap up here. The last small thing I'll throw in, they showed a little flash of Chick being Chick again. What do you think of Chick on the sideline?
That and like on the plane too, where he's like talking about I don't even want to fully say what he was saying, but
you can do it.
He was talking about beating the Rockets down essentially, which they would go on to not do in game 3. But I when you get those glimpses, I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about season 1 Chick Hearn. We got to see a little bit more of the raunchy side that we didn't necessarily know as younger guys who weren't around in that time, or maybe a lot of people didn't know how he kind of would be behind the scenes, because he's well beloved as the broadcasting legend in LA. So it is funny to get those moments of him with the off-color jokes and stuff behind the scenes.
Thank God. A lot of fun things going on here. Looking forward to all that's next with the show here. Definitely fun things on the way. We get more into Showtime and how this thing gets built up into the dynasty that we know it to be. But there'll be a rough patch for them that they're in right now. So fun things on the way here. We'll be tuned in for it all. Back for episode 3 and beyond as this thing goes on for the rest of the season. And we'll thank y'all for tuning in as you guys do. We'll also be back. That's what I was going to get to. My apologies. We'll be back later on this week talking about other things going on in the NBA, getting ready for the season. The schedule should be releasing in this week, so we'll definitely deep dive that a little bit for our Lakers and Clippers and things, and get into that, what games to keep your eyes on and all of that. Also, the NFL is getting closer. The preseason's already here, so we'll dive into some predictions and things as we get a bit closer. Things for you guys to look out to and all of that. So have a fun time. Sports are finally getting rolling again. We're about at that point. Baseball's going. Dodgers looking great. So good time here, and excited for it all. And thank you for tuning in as you guys do. So that's it for today. Continue to like, rate, review, subscribe, comment, share, all that good stuff. We appreciate the love. We'll see you guys again real soon, man. Appreciate y'all. Peace.
Deuces.
No more rationing. Go ahead and give us a whole episode, please.
A whole load.